guys, Majin Schmidt here, doing another Dragon Ball Z video here for Dokkan Battle. But this time, instead of doing a video on summons or Gogeta or anything like that, I want to go over treasure gems. Because when treasure gems first came out, I was very curious as to how the best way to farm for gems was, as were a lot of people. So I did a lot of checking with the more popular people on YouTube who do videos on Dokkan Battles, like Living Ichigo, Rhyme Style, people like that. And it seems, in my opinion, that everyone is all about the quest in Epic Attack and Defense. I think it's 18-3 everyone talks about. It's this mission right here, Sovereign of the Warrior Race. But I find that mission to be incredibly difficult. Even with a good team, you have to commit a lot of good support items to it. And you have to be very careful, and you have to have a really strong team. Sure, it has a very good output of treasure gems, and it's great, but you have to have a really strong team to do it, with someone like Broly or Majin Vegeta to hit multiple targets at once. So for players who don't have those characters, or don't have really strong characters, which I didn't when treasure gems came out, it was very hard to farm. And I found a lot of the time I was using support items very frequently, dying very frequently from getting hit multiple times before I could attack. So this was a big problem for me. Fortunately, in the last banner, I was very fortunate and got Broly, Gogeta, and Majin Vegeta. So I can do it. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. But previously to that, I decided to test out the missions and find out which one gave the best rate of gems overall. And I actually did a little study the other day between Sovereign of the Warrior Race, or 18-3, and 18-5, A Surprising End, and found that, in my opinion, A Surprising End not only has a higher average output of gem drops per run, it also is much, much easier to defeat. All you really need is a decent physical team, maybe 4 or 5 physical players or physical characters, and you're set. They don't even need to be all that strong as long as you got a few healing items along with you. Now, I did a study the other day. I played 5 rounds on both A Surprising End and A Sovereign of the Warrior Race, just to see which one statistically gave better. Most of the time, I'm running Surprising End on Z Hard. On Z Hard, when you do that mission, other than the random mobs that spawn on the map, all you have to fight is Whis. Whis is an intelligence character, so again, all you need is physical. So he's relatively easy to beat because you can just build against his team, which is very nice. But the most important thing is since he's only a one boss or one character fight, he can only drop up to 3 gems. So you can either get 0, 1, 2, or 3 gems, which isn't that great. But the nice thing about A Surprising End is, again, it's very easy to beat. Second of all, Pilaf, who, if you beat him, drops 10 gems, spawns a lot here. When I was doing my test, I ran 5 missions on Surprise End, and another 5 missions on Sovereign. And he spawned for me, Pilaf did, 4 out of 5 times. In general, it's more a 3 out of a 5, but that's still really, really good. So I ran a Surprise End 5 times with the same team, which I'll show you here, and the same items. This is the team I've been using to fight against Whis. Gogeta, obviously, for the key and attack damage. The physical characters to block his attacks and hit him. And then Broly I brought along just to clear out the ads faster when I get in the mob fights. Now, when I did these 5 runs, in total I got 38 gems between 5 runs. I had to use 3 sensu beans to heal myself during the course of these 5 rounds. Now, 38 gems in 5 rounds is an average of 7.6 or 8 gems a run, which is pretty good for 18 stamina. Now, the only thing that is a problem with this one is he does hit very hard. If you block with a physical character, you're taking 34,000 damage if he uses his super. If you block with a non-physical character, you're taking 77,000. So the important thing that I recommend to newer players or just players that aren't lucky with getting characters is if you're below 34,000 health, use a sensu bean. Irregardless of anything, pop it to make sure he doesn't pull a prelude to destruction on you and kill you. It happens every once in a while. He'll catch me off guard and I'll die. So I got to make sure you keep an eye on that. So that's an average of 8 gems per run, and it's really easy. You don't need that great of a team to beat it. Now, with Sovereign, on the other hand, you fight 5 enemies that get 4 attacks per turn. That's a lot of damage, and it hits very hard. So you need a very good team. You need to put in a lot of items like Ghost Usher or King Yema to negate their hits. So if you don't have a great team, it's impossible, if not very, very difficult, without using a ton of items. Now, in my 5 runs of Sovereign, I got 34 gems in 5 rounds. I had to use 6 Sensu Beans, and I had to use 5 King Yemas to negate damage. And one time I also got surprise nuked at the beginning of my turn, and I had to use a Dragonstone. So 34 gems in 5 rounds is an average of 6.8, or 7 gems. So you're sitting at 1 gem less a run on average than Surprise End, at least in my test. You know, it could change for anybody. But 6 Sensu Beans, 5 King Yemas, and a Dragonstone is a huge increase in support items that I use on Surprise End. That just shows you right there the change in difficulty. Now this is the build I was using to fight Sovereign. If my team cost was higher, I would have Super Saiyan 3 Agility Goku in there instead of Gotenks, which would make it easier. But as you can see, you need a much stronger team to be able to blast your way through Sovereign. The really big hit that Sovereign gets is the 5 enemies. They hit very hard, they do a lot of damage, it makes it difficult. They drop a nice amount of gems, which is why everyone recommends it. The problem that I have with Sovereign is Pilaf spawns for me about 1 out of every 5 times. That's 20% of the time that he spawns compared to 60 to 80% on Surprise End. That's a big difference, and that's why the average is so much higher. As long as you get that Pilaf, you're set with points. You know, the only problem is sometimes you can miss Pilaf. You can't miss the boss fight, you can miss Pilaf. But if you know what you're doing and you take your time to count out the steps, it's not that hard. So, in my opinion, I honestly think that some of the other YouTubers are wrong, at least for newer players or players that don't have great teams. Surprise End 8.5, is much more efficient and effective at grinding them because, as I showed you, you don't need that great of a team to fight one Whis. And the cost for support items, much, much better. If anyone else has any other ideas for other missions that they think are better, please let me know in the comments below. I'll get back to you pretty quick. I'm kind of new to this, so I don't have a lot to worry about. I get back to everyone pretty quick. And I'm just trying to see what YouTube brings me. I love Dragonball Z. I love this game. I plan on talking about it. I also do a lot of Destiny stuff, so you'll see that too as when Rise of Iron comes out. But feel free to ask any questions. I spend a lot of time researching and learning more and more about this game. So if anyone has questions or likes my video, please just like and subscribe. I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 videos a week. We'll see what we can do. So you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy your Labor Day weekend. And see y'all later.